Awakening with Brahma Kumaris.
Om Shanti and a very warm welcome to Awakening with Brahma Kumaris. Who am I? This question has been answered. I have found who am I? And the search for God has also come to an end. I have understood who He is or she is. He is that supreme soul, that point of light who is an ocean of love, happiness, purity. Now the question is, what kind of a relationship I can develop with God? Can I have a relationship? And how I can go ahead in this journey? And as always, to take us through this journey, it's a great privilege to have with us Brahma Kumaris Sr Jayanti, who is the European Director of Brahma Kumaris and also the NGO representative at United Nations in Geneva.
Om Shanti and Namaskar.
Namaskar, Sister Jayanti. Thank you so much. You introduced us to God. We've been searching all our lives and now we understand who He is. Can I have a real, dynamic, living relationship with Him? I'm really wanting to have.
If you think about a stage and on a sheet of paper, some of the viewers might like to try this as an exercise. Take a sheet of paper and put yourself just as a dot representing yourself on the middle of that sheet of paper. Now put around you all the different people that you have connections with, and the ones who you have the greatest connection and the most proximity you put closer to that dot. And then you go out further, and on that same sheet of paper you put next the people you have contact with but not on a daily basis. Maybe you meet them once a week and maybe you phone them every so often. And then further you put the people you have contact with only on occasion. Maybe your dentist, your doctor, only people you call upon at a time of need, not as a regular ongoing connection. And then on the periphery, you put people you rarely see, you rarely meet. Now I want you to look at your sheet of paper and ask yourself, where is it that you've put God?
Nowhere.
Well, that's become the state of the world for most of us.
But I don't know Him.
Well, the reason is that I haven't given time to get to know God. Just as originally we were talking about how it takes time to get to know the self, in the sense that where my attention and energy is all the time outside, how can I get to know myself? In this struggle between the good and evil within myself, who can help me? Well, the forces around me are negative, and at the present time, I'm too weak, and so I can't fight on my own. And this is where God steps in. God is the one who is available for me to be whatever it is I need at my moment of need. No human being can be everything to a person. But if I allow God to come not outside my sheet of paper, but right into the heart of the sheet, so that God is the one who is the closest to me. I make God my companion and my constant friend. Then everything I need truly, truly is available from the source, because God is the source of all attributes, everything.
Sister Jayanti, I would like to ask you a question here. That, if we look back at our lives, there have been times when we have conversed with Him, whoever. Because when we have been really, really in pain, I think in everyone's life, this moment has come when we've talked to Him. But then it has been myself talking to Him. I haven't got any answer back, because in a relationship, if I say it's a dynamic relationship, in a relationship, I need to get an answer. Is God going to answer me back?
If you think about a telephone conversation, and if I'm talking all the time on the telephone, I'm not giving the other person a chance to speak to me. And so I can't listen to anything that they have to say. You know, sometimes when two friends are on the phone, both have a lot to share. And so they keep interrupting each other. Just listen to me, just listen to me. And our mind is so busy chattering. And prayer is one thing. You know, we are repeating chantings, praise, the mantras, the sutras, or whatever it may be. And so not only is there sound, and we're occupied with that, but the mind just is a constantly chattering monkey. It's going on all the time. And so I haven't learned how to listen to God. Prayer is my communication with God, and meditation and silence is my ability to hear what God has to say to me. And so this is why I haven't been able to hear God, because I've been too busy and too occupied with my own stuff.
So during meditation, I can actually hear him in the real sense? How will the answer come?
What is it to hear something? Is it through my physical organs of the ears?
No, I can understand also.
Exactly. So the hearing isn't actually what the physical organ is doing. If you tell somebody, you're not hearing me, you're listening to me, but you're not hearing what I'm saying. You know, from the blank look in their eyes, you can see that you're not
It's
getting
not going
through.
in.
It's
Yeah.
not getting through. And so they're not actually hearing you. And so the hearing also isn't a physical fact. It's an inner understanding. And you may say just a few words, and you say, this person really understands. They hear me. Same thing. When my mind is quiet and still, in that stillness, I can understand what it is that God wants to say to me. And so meditation means that communication in which my mind is no longer scattered, but I've taken the time to understand what's happening in my mind and to channel the energy of my mind in one specific direction, so that allowing my thoughts to flow in a direction that is pure and elevated, then I let my thoughts become quiet and still. And in that stillness, I'm able to understand what it is that God wants to give me. I'm able to feel God's presence. You know how sometimes tourists go into a temple or a church and they're chattering away. And so they forget it's a sacred place. And so the place becomes a tourist place. It's not sacred anymore. The sanctity is there, but they're not able to experience it. And the same thing in here. I need to create a sacred space within my mind, within my heart, a space in which God can come in and be comfortable and be with me. And so that's what I'm doing in meditation, making sure that my thoughts remain very pure and elevated, making sure that I keep those qualities of goodness with myself in an emerged way. And then the first experience that I can have of God is that of my mother. In Bharat, we have this beautiful expression that says, Tumeva matascha pita tumeva. So the mother relationship is the most important one in that very first aspect of awakening. It's God's love that's able to embrace us and envelop us and hold us and comfort us and take away our pain and give us hope. In that state, when I've been awakened and I have hope now, then I can experience God the Father. And the property that my Father has to give to me is an unlimited one. The property of inheritance of happiness. It's an inheritance that nobody else can give me, only the divine, because only the Supreme has it. Nobody else has it. Everybody else has lost it.
And even nobody else can take it away from me. You know?
That's the other thing. It's imperishable. Just as God is imperishable, the happiness that I receive from God is imperishable. Nothing can take it away. Nothing can destroy it. And so just simply knowing the mother and the father my life is really, truly transformed. So often, all the different scriptures have talked about a new birth, a new beginning. And it really is like that. It's like the old me is finished, and the new me, the original me, is born again. One in which I have self-respect of being the child of God. And again, you can see how nobody needs to give me any position. Nobody needs to give me any seat or respect or anything, because the pure intoxication of being the child of God is the most valuable seat that anyone could have. I hear people make this comment so often, I wish I knew my role. But come back to the awareness of being a child of God. That's my role. As a child of God, to reveal to others who my parents are. And so when I do that, there's tremendous, tremendous joy and great power that comes from this. Not power and force on an external level, but an inner capacity, a strength that's there. All of this in terms of relationships is like a building of my own inner capacities. That's the wonderful thing.
That if I have to reveal to others,
Yeah.
it can be through my actions only.
It'll be through who I am, my very being. So my actions definitely, but even more than that, through the quality of my thinking, the way in which I look at them, the respect I give them, my consciousness, my attitude, my perception, my vibrations, and yes, my physical actions. So my whole being is going to demonstrate whose child am I.
It's a big responsibility.
It's a
No, but
great
it's
joy,
good.
great fortune.
Yeah.
There's a lovely name that's given to God in Bharat that describes this, and that is the word Shiva. And the word Shiva means the bestower, Kalyankari, the one who is always, always the benefactor, the one who's constantly giving. And I spoke earlier about God as light. The word Shiva also means the point. The word Shiva also means the seed, the creator, out of which creation will emerge. So in fact, I use the word Shiv Baba. Baba, my parent, and Shiva, the benefactor. So Shiv Baba. So instead of God and Allah and Bhagwan who's far away, Shiv Baba becomes a very close, loving term of acknowledgement, a term of endearment, Shiv Baba. Very simple. And when I think of God, I think of this point of light. The being I'm talking about is that point of light whose image and memorial is remembered as the oval image of the Shiva Lingam, the symbol for Shiva, the benefactor. But you see, again in Bharat, there's lovely memorials everywhere. And for example, wherever you see a temple that has the name Ishwar connected with it, Gopeshwar, Rameshwar, all the Ishwars that there are, you'll always see the Shivalingam there. And I particularly mention Gopeshwar and Rameshwar because Gop Kabi Ishwar. They say that at Gopeshwaram there's the Shivalingam where Krishna is said to have worshipped Shiva. Rameshwaram, again the same. It's an image of the Shivalingam. Shankar, when they show Shankar, they show him seated in tapasya, and then in front of him they have again the Shivaling, that he's meditating on the Shivaling. They show him as a form of tapasya. God doesn't need to meditate. I need to meditate, or other beings who need to attain further heights need to meditate. God doesn't need to meditate. So Shiva, the one who is a supreme, whose image of light has been found across the world, is truly the parent of the whole of humanity, the whole of the human race. In fact, the parent of the entire universe, of all living creatures, everything. And so Shiva is the benefactor. And so my relationship with Shiva is one in which I'm taking. And He doesn't need to take anything from me because He is forever complete and stable in that perfection, unchangeable, constant. And when I take from Him, then I'm filled, but also, like you said, how will people know who I am? It's when, as I fill myself and I share that with others, then it reaches them too. And they know that something interesting is happening here. And out of their hearts come many, many blessings for me too.
Here I would like to ask you something. Uh, when we think about God, we think a lot of things need to be, like not to be talked about. We've got to be very careful when we go to or when we, think about God, because it's something to be really scared of. And when we say it's like we should be God fearing, this is something which actually I have never understood. A lot of, I think, my friends also out there must be feeling that way, that if He can be my friend, then how can I share real, intimate talks with Him? Can I?
In fact, God is the one who will be able to listen to all my secrets and hold them. With any human being, you share a secret today and tomorrow they go spill it out to the newspapers.
Yes,
That's how all the scandals in the world have happened. You're sharing things intimately and then next minute they're made public. And so God is the one who I can trust completely. And now the question is, am I able to be so trustworthy that He is able to have trust in me, that I'm going to be obedient? And so again, it's a two-way connection story. But yes, God can be my friend, so that my first port of call, my first connection and contact is with God. God can also be my beloved, filling my heart with divine love, so that I truly am able to go beyond all the limitations and all the trivia and the petty things that normally pull us down, but to stay up above on cloud nine, just feeling His love carrying me forward, but also being an instrument to share that love with all others. And so, because God has everything, is everything, and the only purpose of God's existence is to give, it can be the most beautiful and the only relationship that can fill me with everything for eternity.
And I think He really knows us in and out.
Exactly.
With Him, I can be, the way I want to be.
I can't hide anything anyway. And so He knows all my secrets and He knows all my needs. And He's the one who has the capacity to fulfill all my needs. A human being can't. There's no way I can expect it of anyone.
Oh my God, Sister Jayanti, I think it's a big, like it's a big relief. It's like something lifting up, it's making me so light. And so, because finally I am meeting somebody who is the real supreme being, who will take me to that stage where I always wanted to be. But before we get into the meditation part, another thing which is very, a lot of people are asking these questions is like, how to really meditate. When we are here, all these things look really good and look possible, The logic says that yes, it can be possible, it is. But the moment we step out...
Meditation is training my mind to stay focused on the subject of eternal truth. That's one definition. There can be other definitions too. It means that if I'm thinking of myself as a soul, if I'm thinking of God as that being of light, and I'm thinking about the qualities of God, relationships with God, it's a lot of scope for many different subjects to be explored, so it's never dull and boring. But if I give my mind permission to think about these different aspects, that is meditation. I mustn't search for an experience, but I must just simply train my mind to follow this path of truth. And this can be done not just when you're sitting here and meditating, but out there. As you walk along, your head doesn't have to look at the pavement, but what you're doing is practicing this awareness and this inner communication. When you're driving, you talk to the other passengers in the car, but you're able to focus still And so again, that inner connection. When you stop at a traffic light, instead of getting impatient, let the red light be a signal. Let me go to the Supreme and connect with that being of light. And so take opportunities through the day to create the right consciousness. Then it's like the link doesn't get broken. Then at the end of the day, you don't have to struggle and say, how can I be soul conscious? But you've maintained that awareness, and your own battery is being topped up through the day so that it's not flat by the end of the day. And of course, beginning the day with meditation is perfect. It prepares the mind, it prepares the consciousness, and your life is filled with that joy and the awareness of being a child of God. Then that will carry on through the whole day. But keep topping it up every hour, on the hour, just for a minute.
Just a minute, the way we talked about. But another question is, should I be regular? You know, how the regularity will help. And another thing is that should I fix a time? You know, because somewhere even if I meditate for 10 days, you know, sometimes the 11th day it doesn't happen. You know, the image doesn't come, or something you're not able to concentrate. It happened with me. So I'm just asking you that. Is there some regime I should follow so that it becomes easier?
Human beings are creatures of habit. It's like, you know, when the clock strikes 7 o'clock in the morning, you're trained to do something, whether it's to make a cup of tea or exercise, whatever it may be. When the clock strikes 4 o'clock in the afternoon, again, you begin to think about tea and biscuits, you know. So things develop in that natural way, in which then your mind is drawn by a specific routine. And so, yes, starting the day at a specific hour, as early as possible, because the earlier it is, the more quiet the world is, and so the less the interference of other vibrations. And so start the day at a fixed time, and regularity is very important, because we're just beginning to train the mind. We've allowed it to be wild for a long time. And so just a few minutes every day, and it'll help. It'll gather that momentum. But you practice a few days, you forget a few days, then you again come back. It's going to be more effort, more energy. And I think this is also why people stop practicing.
Then you get tired and it's not happening. You
That's
know,
right.
And then it gets very frustrating.
But the reason for the frustration is that I haven't followed that discipline that I need to. There's 3 things you need. You need clear information to be able to do something. You need to practice. And then thirdly, you need the right company. So every day, whether it's watching this program on television, or better, going to a gathering that meditates, but find those who are like-minded, and that will also definitely help you.
Yeah, that becomes easier actually. Yeah. There is strength in the group.
Yeah.
And now, Sister Jayanti, because we have the right company, a lot of people watching, waiting for that moment of blissfulness and reaching out to God.
Knowing myself, I turn inwards. And with the power of my mind, I reach out to the Supreme, the being of light. My thoughts reach out to my parent, and my parent's love is reaching out for me. And I connect with my Supreme Mother. My mother fills me with love and cleanses me. My father fills me with the intoxication of who I belong to. My father is the highest on high, and I, the child of such a father, am filled with that nobility. I feel the wisdom of the Supreme Teacher, lovingly, patiently, tirelessly, teaching me at every moment so that I understand and know clearly exactly what it is I must do in my life. My Satguru, the true guide, who shows me the way to go beyond, to attain liberation and salvation, who holds my hand so that I may walk the path of truth. My friend, always available, always in reach, always supportive. My beloved, pure love that fills me with joy, a love that carries me to the height of my own divinity, a love that uplifts me. And in this divine connection, the light of truth and the light of love reach out into the universe, and the world changes from dark into light. Om Shanti.
I don't mind being with him for a longer time. I think that's how the time for meditation actually can increase. The moment the relationship develops, it's like we don't want to come out. Thank you, Sister Jayanti. Thank you so much. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Still, there are some questions left. You're welcome. You can always call in or send your mail.
If you wish to discuss your problem or have a question to ask or want to know your nearest Raj Yoga Meditation Center, call us on 099 99 744 555.
We've been empowered now. I've understood I'm a powerful being. I'm a peaceful being. And my connections are very strong because I am connected to that Supreme Being. Now, how is it going to help me in all other relationships? That's the question. And we'll try to find out in the next episode. Till then, have a beautiful and wonderful relationship with yourself and with that Supreme Being. Take care. We'll be back with Awakening with Brahma Kumaris. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.